According to Forbes, one UK company called Eagle Hill Consulting conducted a survey which found that 83% of responders thought the 4-day work week could help alleviate workplace burnout. If you're unfamiliar with the term, burnout is the feeling of running out of steam, of being super overwhelmed and feeling like you can get nothing done. As current students who are about to enter the workforce, it's important to consider the type of company you'd want to work for. A company that cares not only about whether or not they're successful, but whether or not you as an individual are also successful. That is why you all should care about implementing the 4-day work week. There are 3 factors that play into this. 1, we need to eliminate workers feeling burnout, or at least curb some of that. 2, we need to see an increase in productivity during the time that we are actually at work. And 3, there's more opportunity for success when your workers are feeling better, which will result in better numbers, better workers, and better business. Firstly, how are we going to do something to alleviate the burnout? One major solution, as I've mentioned, could be by shortening the work week by just 1 day. Juliet Shore, who's a professor at Boston College, said, "There are many people spending more time at the office than they need to. This means, say you're working for an 8-hour day. Do you really need to be there for all 8 hours, or could you get that done in, say, 6 hours?" Additionally, NPR, or National Public Radio, stresses that an experiment with nurses in Sweden found the nurses who were working 6 hours instead of 8 hours were happier. This idea could also be helpful when it comes to recruiting more workers. Since everyone knows COVID-19, a lot of companies have been struggling to not only bring in people who want to work, but keeping them there. One real-life example about how this can help an individual balance their work life and their outside life is LaDonna Spicer. Also, coming from NPR, Spicer on one summer Friday was able to take her grandnephew to the pool, help her mother-in-law with errands, schedule a physical therapy appointment, and visit the eye doctor all on one Friday. And it's because her employer at HealthWise offers her a 4-day work week. Coming from the CEO, he says the 4-day work week has been transformative both for business and for people, which is the main goal here. As I just mentioned, implementing the 4-day work week would be beneficial for not only the individuals, but the companies as well. But there are some minor concerns. Most people think, how are you going to be able to get done what you need to get done if you're spending less time in the office? Well, if you're cutting the time that people have to be there, in the time that they are there, they're more incentivized to be productive. People think you're spending less time there, the quality of work done is also going to decrease. However, those responding to a survey rated their overall experience a 9 out of 10 on both productivity and performance. They also reported lower levels of stress, fatigue, insomnia, and burnout, and improvements in physical and mental health. This is super important because, as I've said, companies should want their workers to feel good about themselves so they can bring that energy into the workplace and make things better for the companies. A trial run found that there wasn't an increase in work needing to be done. This means that they weren't crammed for time with only being there 4 days a week, which is awesome. And another 2016 survey found that employees are productive for typically 3 out of the 8 hours they're spending at work. This doesn't take into consideration the amount of time it takes some people to commute to work, or they're stuck in traffic, anything like that. Continuing, it's important to mention that with workers feeling refreshed and good about themselves, the companies will see improvements in them too. One company that I mentioned back with LaDonna is HealthWise. They cut to a 4-day work week and it was amazing for business. They also concluded that it was awesome for their workers. The CEO says, "We've delivered on products on time or ahead of where we have done in the past, meaning, of course, improvement has occurred. They also said, he also said, I would say the things we were able to measure have all been positive. Another potential concern that people have with cutting the work week or just measuring to see if it's actually effective is that you can't really measure someone's happiness with a number. However, they are able to see when sales have increased, when more amounts of tasks are being done in a day. And like I just said, he said that all of the improvements were positive. After hearing the success that certain companies have had so far with implementing the 4-day work week, I hope you're all in favor of this change. For one, it's really important to eliminate workplace burnout so that companies can retain workers. I'm sure we've all had a job that we've worked at and almost instantly we realized this isn't for us and have quit shortly after. If you haven't, just know that I have, and I understand that feeling. Secondly, it would encourage workers to be more productive. For example, in college, we spend, say, 3 days a week where you're actually having to go on campus for your classes. If it were only 2, I feel like, at least for me as an individual, it's easy to keep on working once you're already there. So I could get done 3 days worth of work in 2 days. And finally, the combination of these two factors would result in both better personal health, as well as workplace improvements, meaning improvements in sales, improvements in the amount of work you're getting done. With all that in mind, I encourage all of you as young people about to enter the workforce to do a lot of research on the companies that you'd want to work for. Do they value you as a person and not just a worker? And do they have flexibility when it comes to schedules? Because entering the workforce is a lot different than being a college student. Thank you.